Family Credit Management is a non-profit credit counseling agency. We specialize in helping people take control of their debt.
People call in every day. By the end of the call, they're feeling better. They know there's some hope out there.
For over a decade, Family Credit Management has helped tens of thousands of Americans deal with the burden of debt.
If you're struggling with debt, the most important thing is to take control of it. Now's the time.
Family.
Hey, we are back another week. My name is Latisha Griffin, and I'm here for the next 25 to 30 minutes or so just to answer any questions that you may have regarding your debt, regarding finances, regarding any type of money issues, money matters that you have. You can always feel free to call in and ask on air, or if you don't get a chance to call in right now and ask, you can contact a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328 and just find out more information and speak directly with a counselor. You can do that by dialing the 800 number, or you can go online to familycredit.org. And Family Credit's website, there is so much information that you can actually find when you're dealing with finances and debt. You've got questions about setting up a budget, you need help with that. There's resources available that you can use off of the website for that. You can also speak with a counselor and they can help you get set up as well. So right now I'm dealing with a lot of consumers that have gotten their tax refunds and they're wondering what's the best way to go about using it. So some questions I actually got this week were just talking about, hey, I've got my refund and I'm wondering if I should pay off my debts or if I should just save this money. So let's touch a little bit on that. When you've got money and you're not sure what to do with it, the best thing that you can do is take it slow. Don't make any rash or rushed decisions right away with it. You want to save whatever you can, but also you want to take a look at paying off your debts too. Because a lot of times when you're thinking about it, well, just think about it for a little bit. If you have debts that you want to pay off and you've got the money to do that, that actually will allow you to save more in the future because now you don't have to worry about that debt. So really they're working together, one and the same. They're working to create some space for you in your budget, alleviate that stress, and guess what? That debt is gone. So you want to think about that. If you've got some money, you want to know where to put it. Look at paying off your debts, but make sure that you can afford it. And see about also establishing emergency savings account as well. Cool rule of thumb to remember, if you're looking at emergency savings, you need to have roughly 6 months worth of your salary sitting in a bank for you to touch in case something goes wrong. Now for a lot of people that's not even possible, but just think, if you start saving with whatever you have right now and you save that for this month and then you add to it next month and you keep doing that, whatever little amount you can put away, you will have more than you do right now just by doing it. So whether it's starting with $5 or $500, it's always best to try and save what you can and put that in your emergency savings account. But also look at those debts. You want to make sure that you've got some money to pay those off too and that they work for you. Now, what I mean by that is that if you are looking to pay off debts and you've got some collection agencies, you've got people harassing you, you've got phone calls coming in, you want those calls to stop, you need to be careful about your next move. So you've got this money that you want to pay off your debt. You want to look at whether or not this debt is reporting to the credit bureau. First thing you should look at. And you want to see how it's affecting your credit bureau report. Chances are if it's an older bill, it might not be on your report because keep in mind, if you are looking at your credit bureau report, it looks at the last 7 to 10 years worth of bad debts that you may have showing up on your report. And think about your score too. Your score only looks at the last 24 months worth of history. So if you got that out there, you've got those debts that you're looking at paying off, and you're getting harassed, make sure they're reporting to the credit bureau. And then if you have some other debts or you're still getting those calls and you're thinking about paying those off, make sure that whoever you're talking to or whatever bill that you're trying to pay off, make sure you actually owe it. There are so many scams out nowadays, especially with the tax season just being over, and collectors and scam artists, they know that you've gotten refunds or you're getting some money, and so they want to do whatever they can to help you by alleviating or taking some of whatever you have, so, and filling their own pockets. You want to be careful with this because there are some really, really crazy scams out nowadays. One of the scams that were out has to do with just like Publishers Clearinghouse, and a lot of people thinking that they've won some money, and they're getting these phone calls. They receive a letter stating that they've actually won, but all they need to do is send back in money order or a check for a certain amount, or even call and give a payment over the phone just to claim your prize. Well, think about it. If you really have to pay money to get your prize, it's not really a prize. And also think that if there's something that sounds too good to be true, it usually is. So never ever give out information to people that are just calling for that reason. And again, you want to make sure that the debts are legitimate. You can contact a counselor, Family Credit, and just ask them if you are having problems pulling your credit report, you don't understand it. They can help you with that. And they can help you by making sure that you are not being taken advantage of. A lot of times, some of our problems can even be resolved by just talking to the right people and getting the help out there, especially with the counselors that all have access to great information, can pull your credit report and let you know whether that debt is valid or not. And like I said, you want to look out for those scams. Another scam that's out there, we've got people that are actually what's called like the MoneyGram scam out too nowadays. Be careful of that one because that's a tricky one. Now, someone can call and say that you owe them money, or that that you really owe the money and you really need to make a payment right now, or they are going to have you arrested. They're going to send the sheriff to your house, and so their job is to get you riled up and get you scared so that you will want to pay this debt, even though it's not yours and it's not valid. And what they do is they take advantage of you, and they tell you that in order to avoid all this drama and avoid the sheriff coming out and prosecution and going to jail, you need to go to Walmart and send them a MoneyGram for a certain amount, and here's the address that you send it to. And you need to do that within the next hour or so. And after you do that, you send them the money, and then you don't hear from them again. That's because it's a scam. And by you doing it and sending the MoneyGram, there's no way for you to get that money back, because it's not like it went through your bank account or anything. You've actually given it to them by sending it to whatever code they've given you. So it's like you are advocating that, and you're saying that it's okay. I'm pointing that out for one reason, because the regulators have noticed that a lot of people are being taken advantage of. And now they're working to help you get your money back. So if you have been taken advantage of and that scam, someone's conned you out of some money like that, go online to the FTC's website, and the Federal Trade Commission's website is ftc.gov, and you can report that, and they will help you get compensated for the amount that you've lost. Now, you will have to prove that you sent it and all that. You will have to send over your receipts and your documents, but it's worth it, and it will help you get your money back. Look like we've got a caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, I have a question. So after filing my taxes this year, I owe quite a bit. Do you have any suggestions on what I can do about that?
Well, you're in luck. Even though you owe the IRS, they do know that a lot of people owe them, and they come out that way. So they've set up ways for you to make payment plans with them. If you go online to the IRS's website, you can download a form that's called Form 9645. And when you do that, you will be able to set up payment arrangements. Now, you will need to send that form into them. And sometimes if you want, you can document your hardship and let them know what's going on, so that they will accept a smaller payment from you. But typically, they want you to pay that debt off in 3 years. So whatever you've got, whatever your balance is, divide that by 36 and see if that payment will work for you. You can also contact a counselor, Family Credit, and they can help you get that set up as well, send you out information about it, and help you work out a repayment plan for that. Also, if you're struggling with the IRS and you don't know what to do, and let's say that payment plan option does not work for you and you can't really do that, you can contact the taxpayer advocate and they will work on your behalf to set up some arrangements with you to see if there's ways to get fees knocked off or whatever they can do to prevent penalty or further penalties. So you can do that by contacting the taxpayer advocate at 877-777-4778. Again, reach out to the taxpayer advocate's office because they really are there to assist you at 877-777-4778. Another thing I want to point out, there's a lot of people that still have not filed their taxes yet either. So you do want to make sure that if this happens again, every year, maybe even set a reminder for yourself. If you know you are not going to file taxes, you feel that there's something happening and you're not in the right position, you don't have all your documents yet, in January, set a reminder for you to actually file an extension form. That extension form will give you until October 15th to actually file your taxes. So you can file anytime before then. But the great part about that extension form is that it helps you avoid penalties and interest. And the IRS, they will inflict those penalties as soon as they realize you haven't filed. So you want to make sure that you do that. Also, if let's say you've forgotten something you have filed, you can also amend your taxes. And you can do that by going to your accountant or whoever prepared your taxes as well. And you can reach out and ask the taxpayer advocate's office. So those are all great questions. Feel free to keep those questions coming in. Looks like we've got another. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello. Years ago, my identity was used to obtain credit cards and utilities in my name, and I'm trying to fix this, but need advice on where to start.
Okay. Now, for a lot of people, that's a huge struggle. And so you have to realize that it will take time for you to get things back in order. But you have the power to do that. The first thing that you need to do, if you haven't done this already, you do need to let the credit bureaus know that your identity has been stolen. And sometimes, depending on how that happened, it can be a quite difficult situation. After you let the credit bureaus know, you need to file a police report. And you need to get that police report and submit it to the credit bureaus. There are some times where you'll notice that even people that you know have stolen your identity, or your family members have stolen your identity. And it's sad, but it does happen. The only thing that you need to know, though, is that you can get out from under it. And it just depends on which path you actually want to take with that. After you file the police report, you will need the credit bureaus will work on your behalf to make sure that the information is updated on your report and that you aren't suffering from it. You'll have to provide documentation and you will have to stay in contact with them. But they will place what's called a freeze on your credit bureau report once they get that police report from you. So they're going to freeze your credit so no one can take out any credit in your name again, especially with that happening. Now that freeze will last for maybe about 7 years. Now, if you are experiencing identity theft and you know it's through your family member, that's something that you need to think about because you're filing a police report, which means that there are going to be investigations and actions hopefully taken on your behalf. And if it's someone that you know, then you have to think about whether you want to be responsible for that, or if you feel like you don't want to get them in trouble, you know who it is, and it takes some thinking about whether this is the path that you want to go down or not. If you decide that you don't want to go down this path with it, then you are responsible for that debt. So in that case, you would probably need to reach out to the creditors, figure out what happened, and work out some sort of payment arrangement so that the debts can be cleared. Because those debts will have to come to a zero balance some way. They can either be removed by doing that process through submitting everything through credit bureaus, or you'd have to take care of them on your own. Which is another reason why you want to pay attention to everything that you're getting yourselves into and watch out for scams. Those scams are out there and people are taking advantage of every single day. And you want to make sure that you aren't taken advantage of. Perfect way to do that, make sure you are watching your credit bureau report. especially if you notice some changes on your report. And a lot of times, even if you are looking at it throughout the year, or some people monitor it monthly, some people sign up for different credit monitoring services that help with that. But as soon as you notice something that doesn't seem right, you need to contact the credit bureaus and report it. Again, if you have problems pulling your report, or you need to know where to go for help, or even setting up arrangements, any problems that you may have like that, you can contact a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328. And you want to make sure that you got all the information that you need, and you know that Family Credit is a resource that will help you, and they're there to help you and answer all of your questions that you may have regarding your debt and your finances. So take advantage of that. Contact someone that can help. Now, when you're looking, when you're monitoring your credit report, another thing that you want to pay attention to are collection agencies. And we started talking about this in the beginning of the program, how sometimes collectors can call you and say that you owe them, and you really don't. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's on your credit report, and also the times and the time frames, date of last activity. Those are other important things on your credit report that you need to pay attention to as well. Now, let's say you've got this collection agency that's harassing you, and they say you owe maybe $300, but they're calling you every day, they're calling your employer, and they are being just really nasty with you, and they won't give you any information. They're just telling you that you need to pay them. That's a huge red flag right there. You need to start just making sure that you protect yourself. The way that I want you to do that is, if you've got someone harassing you, I want you to take down the name of the person, or whatever name they give you, the time that they were calling, and if you can get a number that they're calling you from, you want to keep that as well. Keep a running tab of every time they've contacted you and harassed you. And it's important that you do that, because that way they can, you're taking advantage, they're taking advantage of you, and you want to report them. Now, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is out there to help you with that, but also the Federal Trade Commission is a great place for you to go and report any types of wrongdoing and harassment that you're receiving, and also the Better Business Bureau as well. So now you've got this collector on the phone, and you're asking them, hey, where are you calling me from, and what debt is it regarding? And there are some times where people are like, well, you should know you owe us money, and they're just giving you all these types of excuses. So you want to actually record that information, take that down, and then you want to do your own research as well. You can do a Google search. You can look them up, look up the name that they're representing, and find out more information and see if anyone else has been ripped off as well. There's a website out there that you can use, and like I said, with doing it through Google, you should be able to find out a lot of information about their practices, about whether they're legit, and those are things that you want to know, especially if they're harassing you to give them money and you don't even know anything about them. And I just want you to avoid being taken advantage of. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm wondering, how would I go about setting up a budget for my family?
Ooh, now that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that right now. First thing that you want to do is look at your income and your expenses. You want to know how much you make. And a great resource, a great place for you to start is by going to the Family Credit website. You can download My Spending Plan, and if you do not have internet access, you can contact the 800 number and they can send you one out for free. Now, when you're trying to set up a budget, again, you're looking at your income and your expenses, and you need to come out with a positive number at the end. Now, I don't want you to bank on money that you don't have either. So you want to look at how much you are actually bringing in the house. Some people, they set up their budgets and they start using the gross amount, or the amount that they think they make. Like if you're making $10 an hour, you're working 40 hours a week, you think you're bringing in $400 a week. And in all honesty, you're probably bringing in a lot less than that, anywhere from $270 to $330, somewhere along that line is what you're actually bringing home. So your budget needs to be based on that number. Also, you want to look at the amount that you have going out each and every single month. Take into consideration all the bills that you're paying out. Those things come first. Your utility bills are important. And you want to make sure that you've got everything set up so that you can pay your utility bills and pay them on time. Look at the amounts that you're paying each month. And if it seems like sometimes it's fluctuating, or you don't have money for 1 month and 1 month you do, you may want to contact the utility companies and see about enrolling in a payment plan. They can do a budget payment plan, which would just be based on whatever you've done the past 12 months, and they'll give you an average, and that's actually what you pay each month. And so whether your usage doubles or it varies, it's a great way for you to have a set amount and you know what you have to pay, and that works really well for your budget. Then after you've done that, you've got your utilities taken care of, you know you can manage those or you can't and you're looking for help with that, contact the utility company, see if you can get some help. Then you want to look at cutting out the spending leaks or those things that totally drain our budget each and every single month. And you might even want to look at it on a weekly basis. Start paying attention maybe like the Monday before you get paid and say to yourself, what is it that I'm actually spending my money on? Take your receipts and you may want to just put those in an envelope, not even think about it. And then once you get paid, take a look and see what you've done over the course of the last week. And do that for a few weeks or a few pay periods just to give you an idea of where your money goes. So it looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, yes. I just received a summons yesterday, and I'm a little bit worried about it. I'm a lot of it worried about it. It's from a credit card that I had years ago, and I was under the impression that old debts like that just got removed, that they weren't on your credit report. Is that not true?
Honestly, it's not. If you got an old bill that you have not paid, you still owe it. Now, there's something called the statute of limitations, which means that a creditor cannot collect on a debt after a certain time period. And a lot of times after 7 years, they've stopped harassing you anyway. But then there are some times where some creditors know that 7 years is coming up, and it's about to be like 5.5 or 6 years. It's almost at 7. So they want to try and hurry up and get some payment out of you right then. So sometimes they may send it to an attorney to collect on, and they may send it and try and push legal proceedings against you. But that's where you need to come in and just figure out if it's your debt, if it's something that you really do owe, and then try and get some help from it. Now, at this point, you should be able to set up payment arrangements with that creditor or about whatever's going on, but a lot of times in that instance you need help and you don't know where to go. So I do want to just advise you to contact Family Credit because they can help you with that as well and let you know what you should do, whether arrangements can be set, and what you should actually be looking at paying each month, and if it's even valid. But if you've got a summons that means that it's going through the court system, then you do want to pay attention to it. Make sure that you don't ignore it at all, because you never know what will happen, and you don't want to just wake up one morning and realize that your check is being garnished. You think you're about to get paid and your check is short. So these are some ways and tips that you can take control and make sure you're staying on top of things by looking at your finances, making sure you're looking at those letters coming in the mail. Look at getting some help if you feel like you can't do it. And as always, just know that we're here for you. So if you got questions that you need answered and you need some help, you need direction, the counselors at Family Credit are there to assist you. And you can talk about your budget, your credit report, anything, any questions that you may have regarding that. So we've talked about a lot of different things today. We've talked about your budgeting, setting up a budget, which is pretty cool. So you do want to contact Family Credit, get a spending plan, and look at getting your budget together. And we've talked about scams and how to get help with your tax debt. Remember the Taxpayer Advocate's Office number, 877-777-4778. And then again, we've talked about how to avoid those scams. Keep an eye on your credit report. Make sure you're paying attention and report it if it does not seem right. And just if you're being harassed, look for help. Get help. There's help out there, and you have the power to make that harassment stop. So I want you to know that. And if you've got any other questions, feel free to call us back next week, or we'll be back next week with the show. And you can just ask any questions that you may have then. So save up all your questions, your stories. Feel free to save those and call us next week. In the meantime, contact a counselor at 800-994-3328 or go online to familycredit.org. So we will be back next week, and we'll talk to you then. Take care.